You know, it's really interesting because we actually saw a little relief rally on the announcement, despite it being so awaited, as you said. But it's really fallen back. Look at that share price this afternoon. I think this is possibly because there are two big concerns still, even with the plan, looking into the detail. First of all, how much it's going to cost. It's a really expensive restructure. It's going to cost $8 billion. And I think that's much higher than anyone really expected. There's also some skepticism about the bank's projection for revenue growth in the new core bank, given the scale of the cost cuts. But there's no doubt that analysts are overall pleased that at least the plan is being announced, that it is extensive, it is radical, it is by far the biggest thing we've seen from Deutsche Bank for a decade.
Now, taking a look, there's been reports so far of people already packing up their bags and leaving Deutsche Bank premises. But what do we know so far about the layoffs exactly, and where can we expect more of these layoffs to be coming from?
Yeah, the headline figure of 18,000 redundancies is absolutely huge. It's about 1 in 5 of all jobs at Deutsche Bank. Now, they haven't given a regional breakdown, but as we understand it, this will largely affect the United States. But of course, it will affect all of the global operations. And we know from the bank that they started rolling this out this morning. They started communicating their layoffs with staff in the Asian bureaus. And we're getting lots of media reports here in London of people leaving the office in the city with boxes filled with their belongings. Terribly, terribly sad, probably not terribly surprising, since this has been well documented and expected for the last few weeks.
At one point, Deutsche Bank's ambition was to create a European investment bank. But now that they are shrinking their operations and scaling back, is this the end of Europe's hope for a big investment bank?
You know what? I suspect it is, at least for the time being. It's so interesting when you look at Deutsche Bank. I mean, not so long ago, labelled the world's riskiest bank by the IMF. I mean, its problems in many ways started long before the financial crisis with its ambitions to become an investment bank. In 1999, buying up Bankers Trust. It had some success. It was at one point the world's biggest bank, but it was so highly leveraged. It would fail to really make radical changes it needed to after the financial crisis. It faced so many fines over the years. And I think there's not much appetite at the moment in investment banking in this climate. So I suspect this is definitely the end of Deutsche Bank's ambitions to be an investment bank. But whether anyone else will come out of the woodwork, I suspect not, at least anytime soon.
And, you know, just looking forward, what is this going to mean for all the other banks in Europe? Is it time now for a big merger to create a much-needed rival to US banks?
Well, I think in terms of the US banks themselves will be looking to take market share in investment banking away from Deutsche Bank. I've heard of lots of new appointments, particularly focusing on European investment banking from the States. In terms of Europe itself, I'm not sure there's enough appetite for a mega merger. And you mustn't forget that, of course, Deutsche Bank really wanted to merge with Commerzbank not so long ago, just a few months ago, to try and stave off this huge restructure. But those merger talks fell through. I don't expect we'll see anything like that anytime soon. And I don't think it would meet regulators' approval either.
Anna, just to wrap up, do you think that Deutsche Bank could be a takeover target?
I think it always has the potential to be a takeover target, stripped for parts, perhaps. I think it's really interesting seeing what analysts are saying about the restructure overall, just the headlines from them. Credit Suisse, restructuring bold, but execution risk high. JP Morgan, bold restructuring. Execution remains key. Goldman Sachs, a very deep cut, but structural challenges persist. I think when we look at the future of Deutsche Bank, whether it's as a success or as a takeover target, it's all going to lie in the execution of this plan.